Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening everyone and thanks for joining us. First tonight, the State's Health Services Union is at wit's end. It says reluctantly going on strike to highlight Tasmania's poor and uncompetitive conditions. The government has deemed the industrial action unnecessary, but workers say it's their only option.
Losing allied health professionals faster than it's able to recruit. The Royal Hobart Hospital is running on empty.
It's really disheartening to come to work knowing what a good job we could do for the patients if we were fully staffed.
We see 30 vacancies here at the Royal Hobart Hospital in the physio area. We see the same in occupational therapy, pharmacy, radiography, medical scientists.
The government's latest offer, no match to mainland wages.
Queensland have just got a 5% a year increase for the next 3 years. The offer to Tasmanian public sectors workers was below 3.5% for all of those years.
I've trained up junior members of staff who have left for the mainland and who are now on much bigger salaries than even they're offering at my experience level.
The Health Services Union meeting with senior government officials yesterday, but coming away empty-handed.
It's an unsustainable situation that is actually costing the health system more because people are staying in hospital longer.
The union is refusing to wait any longer, with Hobart's allied health professionals walking off the job for an hour and a half next Thursday. The Launceston General and Northwest Regional also engaging in strike action in the following weeks.
Goodwill's gone. Our colleagues are the only ones that got our back, because what I've learnt through some negotiations is that our employer doesn't.
The government says while it will work with the union in good faith to resolve outstanding matters, any industrial action is disappointing and unnecessary. Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
Meanwhile, union members are set to rally against Southern Cross Care tomorrow, protesting planned changes to its staffing structure. The ANMF is concerned by the aged care provider's household model, which will see enrolled nurses made redundant across the state.
Implementing the proposed household model of care, as put by Southern Cross Care, will mean adverse impacts on residents in terms of safety and quality.
A community forum for union members, residents and their families will follow the protest. The final phase of a long-running police investigation, codenamed Operation Bold, has resulted in a 43-year-old Mole Creek man charged with a range of drug trafficking and manufacturing offences.
Which involved the intercept of a vehicle in the Deloraine area. As a result of that intercept, a male person was taken into custody, his vehicle was searched and a loaded pistol was located.
Detectives executed 2 search warrants at separate addresses at Mole Creek yesterday.
There was a large quantity of ammunition, 12 firearms, 6 which are confirmed as stolen, a large quantity of MDMA, a large quantity of ice, some further items such as a pill press, and some cash was located at those addresses.
Tasmania Police says the seized drugs have a street value of more than $1 million. The accused faced the Launceston Magistrates Court this afternoon. And still on court matters, a 52-year-old Hobart man charged with murder has fronted the Magistrates Court via video link this morning. Police allege John McDonald was involved in an incident on Tuesday which led to the death of a 51-year-old man from Glenorchy. No bail application was made, with the matter adjourned for plea to March 24. And the 49-year-old woman caught up in a sexting scandal with Tim Payne has pleaded guilty to stealing from her former employer, Cricket Tasmania. Renee Ferguson originally pleaded not guilty before changing her plea earlier this week. Cricket Tasmania and the Hobart Hurricanes lost $5,600 to Miss Ferguson during her employment between 2015 and 2017. The matter has been adjourned for sentencing to March 1. The state government is calling for a partner to develop its new youth justice model of care. While the therapeutic approach is being praised, there are concerns the 2024 Ashley closure date won't be met.
Far from therapeutic, Ashley has been a house of horrors. For those who survived, its closure can't come soon enough.
We need to make sure that we take a structured process to make sure that we get this right in our service delivery, because of paramount importance to the state government is the safety of children.
The government is now calling for a partner to develop a new therapeutic youth justice model of care.
I think what's positive is that for the first time we're looking to invest in a model of care for the full continuum of youth justice in Tasmania.
The winner of the tender would consult and negotiate with stakeholders, conduct a literature review, develop the model of care and an implementation plan. Their work to be completed by the beginning of December, with the centre to close by the end of 2024.
So at every step of the way, under Minister Roger Yench, we've had delay upon delay.
They're going to have to work very quickly to deliver on their commitments.
One child safety advocate says the tender is still aimed at tackling crime and rehabilitating offenders.
We need to change that narrative to being about the impact of trauma and abuse and also impact of mental illness.
Safe communities and children, the ultimate goal. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
More than 80 community services representatives have had an audience with the Premier, urging more to be done. This as Anglicare joins the Fair Funding campaign, calling for more support to enable them to continue to provide essential services.
Without the help of community services, Jeff Ryan's life could have been very different.
I was in despair. Now I can contribute and give back.
The residential rehabilitation program helped him find his feet.
I'm someone who's benefited greatly from accessing community services. I had lifelong alcohol dependence. Now I'm going to university and now I've got my first paid job in 17 years.
Now a peer support worker himself, Jeff says the sector is struggling.
The bucket's empty, you know. I'm seeing resources stretched to their limits. And I'm just concerned.
As a sector for organisations, it's extremely dire. We're all looking at how we can cut costs.
Anglicare joining the growing chorus, calling for sustainable and realistic funding.
The bottom line is, if we don't have that funding, we will not be able to actually reach out and support those vulnerable Tasmanians.
It's a bit of a no-brainer that their funding should keep pace with the general costs of putting services out on the ground.
We're calling on the Tasmanian Government to provide 9.5% increase in funding for the next year.
The Premier today opening the door to fruitful conversations with the Tasmanian Council of Social Service.
This is a great time to sit down, talk, listen with representative organisations that do such a fantastic job, and of course that's our focus.
Cameras were shut out of the closed lunch, but industry representatives hope for a solution to be tabled soon. McKenna Bailey, 7 Tasmania News.
A record number of suspensions in Tasmanian schools were handed out last year. 8,873 was a total, a rise of nearly 30% in 5 years.
There aren't enough school psychologists, there aren't enough social workers, there are not enough youth workers in our schools, and the government has been told that repeatedly by the workforce.
Education Minister Roger Yench is reviewing the use of suspensions. Circular Head Council is currently considering a development application for the controversial Robbins Island wind farm. The project has sparked so much interest from locals, tonight's meeting was moved from council chambers to the Circular Head Community and Recreation Centre at Smithton. A report being tabled tonight recommends that council approve the application, which would see 122 wind turbines installed off the northwest coast. More than 120 objections have been submitted. Tasmanians are being warned to prepare their properties for fire danger as hot conditions sweep across the state from tomorrow. The fire service has voiced concerns high temperatures could increase the risk of a blaze becoming uncontrollable, with permits put on hold for the foreseeable future.
It's stopping anyone lighting a fire in the landscape. We just want to make sure that fires that do start are brought to control as quickly as possible.
Lightning is also expected in some areas, triggering the service to double the brigade response to any fires that do occur. A Turkish Tasmanian woman has detailed the pain of seeing her homeland wiped out by the earthquake crisis. She's now rallying to support those affected, as Muslim leaders also band together to raise thousands of dollars for humanitarian relief.
Her childhood memories in the Hatay region now blurred by devastation. Roshan Gaffard has struggled to comprehend what she's witnessed from afar.
It was really hard. It was emotionally hard the first 48 hours trying to hear back from my aunties and uncle and other friends and family.
Still battling the grief of losing a friend, her family's stories of survival are unimaginable.
Luckily, all my family members are okay. They lost their homes though. My uncle came out with just bruises and scratches. His wife had to have stitches.
The Turkish Tasmanian has directed funds back to those in desperate need, giving a portion of her profits from her small crafts business.
Everybody showered me with love and support, I can say. Even when they were purchasing earrings, for instance, they rounded up to a higher amount.
Local Muslim leaders continue to pray for those affected in the disaster zone.
We just normally pray, but of course, because of this, we'll remember them and we'll mention them.
Fundraising for relief on the ground.
So far, we have sent $11,000 for the Turkey and Syria earthquake victims.
The Tasmanian government already contributing to UNICEF's humanitarian efforts.
Because we have people from those areas and witnessing what the devastation, the loss of life.
I think it's to do with being human and helping another human, regardless of where they come from.
Grace Evans, 7 Tasmania News.
34 sporting organisations have scored a strike in a state government grants fund. 10-Pin Bowling Tasmania is one of these successful applicants and will now be able to run 2 inclusive programs for children and people with disabilities.
Last year we had over 800 participants go through those programs, and we're hoping with the funding for this year we can increase on that number.
We know that for the health of Tasmanians, being active and regular like these participants behind us are, is critical to achieving a healthier Tasmania as well.
There's still no timeline though for a community sporting facilities strategy promised by the end of last year. Canungi Mount Wellington's iconic zigzag track is getting a facelift thanks to a helicopter transporting dolerite rocks and gravel to the upper slopes.
We have up to 63,000 people use this track every year. 250 people a day wander up and down this track.
Hikers are being asked to respect the 6-month trail closure.
It is being dug up and it is being rebuilt, and it is not always left in a state of safety for people.
12 people have been slapped with hefty fines after disobeying signage. It's the eve of MonaFeim with last-minute rehearsals in full swing across the state. An American composer and a local singer are joining forces, performing an hour-long session of song at St John's Anglican Church in Launceston.
This concert is one of 3 concerts that I'm doing across the festival. This is the only one in Launceston, but this is me and Nicholas doing a duo concert of piano and countertenor music. So we have 6 or 7 things that are going to happen.
Nico's written a couple of works for this, which are certainly probably Tasmanian premieres, maybe even Australian premieres, I'm not certain, but there's a piece called Old Bones, which is about the discovery of Richard III's body, which I think is just stunning.
The duo will perform an evening hymn tomorrow night from 11 until midnight. Thousands of Tasmanian students are embarking on the next chapter of their education at O Week celebrations. They're off to a promising start. New figures show UTAS graduates earn the highest starting salaries in the country.
For disability support worker turned social work student Dean, going to uni was a no-brainer.
The load is intense, I'm not going to lie, but I've really enjoyed the opportunities.
He's starting his 3rd year with a surprising sweetener for when he finishes. The latest graduate outcomes survey found social workers are the 3rd highest paid sector, out-earning teachers and engineers.
Education is inextricably linked to prosperity, and prosperity is inextricably linked to health.
Around 7,000 students are beginning their university journeys around the state. Hundreds of them have turned out to orientation week sessions, meeting teachers and finding their bearings in their new schools.
We've got a big new cohort of first-year students, and that's always something that's exciting because you get that chance to build bigger and better that kind of community you've got.
University leaders are happy to see students back on campus after a quiet couple of years.
It's lovely to see people just gathering and making friends and catching up.
Semester 1 officially kicks off next week. Annie Green, 7 Tasmanian News.
It's a big night for the Jack Jumpers as they prepare to face the New Zealand Breakers in Game 2 of the NBL semi-finals. Our reporter Grace Evans is live at My State Bank Arena. Grace, a win is crucial for the JJs, isn't it?
McKenna, this is a do or die game for the Jack Jumpers here tonight. Look, the Jack Jumpers will be fighting to keep their NBL championship dreams alive when they face off against the Kiwis. Now, they lost to the Breakers in Game 1 of the semi-finals on Sunday, so this is their last chance to stay in the competition. Of course, they'll be taking to the court in their NBL-inspired Heritage Devils jerseys, which I'm sure they're hoping will bring them a little bit of luck, but of course they'll have the roars from Ants fans as well. We spoke to some of them a little earlier.
What do you think the game's going to look like?
We're going to blow the whole thing out. I just love the Jack Jumpers and just love seeing them win.
As long as they win by 92, and then you get hungry Jacks.
While Josh Majette did return to training earlier in the week, he will remain sidelined with that nasty facial injury. But in good news for fans, Captain Clint Steindl will return to the floor. I'm ready and I'm excited. McKenna, tip-off is at 7:30. Back to you.
Meanwhile, the Marsh One Day Cup clash between Tasmania and New South Wales is underway. The Blues chose to bat first in North Sydney this afternoon and were all out for 291. Tom Rogers showed some star power for the Tigers, taking 4 wickets.
Full toss this time. Dorsius picks out the man in the deep and Rogers has 4. One more delivery to try and get the fifer.
Tasmania began batting a short time ago and were 2 for 44. In the WNCL, the Tassie Tigers' fine form continues, with our cricketers taking on Western Australia today at Blunston Arena. The home team choosing to bat first, with Tigers captain Elise Villani smashing her way to another century, not out for an impressive 174 runs. Tasmania was 3 for 339, defeating WA by 31 runs. Western United has touched down in Launceston, looking to Tasmanian soil for a much-needed A-League win against Wellington. The team is sitting second last on the ladder after a string of lacklustre results. It's also a high-stakes match for the Phoenix. A loss would see them plummet to 9th.
It will be a good game. It will be an attacking game, and there will be a lot of chances at both ends, you think.
Young striker Noah Botic is hoping to continue a run of form that saw the 21-year-old score his first professional goal last week.
That just comes down to training and hard work, and obviously the coach believing in me, thinking that I can, perform for the team.
Kickoff is at UTAS at 7:45 tomorrow night. And Tasmania's best sporting clubs and their volunteers have been recognised on the national stage during a ceremony at Parliament House. Woodbridge Cricket Club was crowned National Good Sports Club of the Year for inspiring positive change and building a healthier and family-friendly club environment. Tasmania's University Football Group was also honoured for a commitment to mental health awareness.
Good evening. Flinders Island was the state's top at 30 today. 23 in Hobart, Launceston 27, a top of 25 for Devonport, Burnie 22. King Island reached 27 today, 24 for Friendly Beaches and St Helens. Grove, Mariah Island and Low Head all reached 22 and 19 at Strawn. A few showers around the state today, with a band of quick-moving cloud crossing over the state from the northwest, and thunderstorms are seen off the west coast. Further out, extensive and thick cloud lies over northern Queensland, while thunderstorms are off the South Australian coast and a cloud band extends down from northern WA. Tomorrow, a trough will move over the state in the afternoon and a series of troughs and lows lie over parts of the mainland, with a high over eastern New South Wales extending to a ridge over Queensland. North to northeasterly winds reaching up to 20 knots, increasing up to 25 knots about the south in the evening. And hot conditions across the state tomorrow. Partly cloudy around the south. Hobart 32, 33 for Huonville and 34 for Campania. 33 in Launceston, cloud clearing, and 28 for Devonport, 30 for Georgetown. Burnie 26, 27 and mostly sunny for Strawn and Wynyard. And partly cloudy around the east. St Helens 29, a high of 32 for Swansea, and Port Arthur 27. And the state's UV sits at a very high 9. Showers extending statewide on Saturday, with thunderstorms possible about the east. More showers for the west and far south on Sunday, fine elsewhere. And showers about the west, central plateau and south on Monday, extending to the east in throughout the day, mainly fine elsewhere. Sunny in Adelaide and Perth tomorrow, Melbourne 38, mostly sunny in Brisbane and 33 in Darwin. Right now in Hobart it's 22, Launceston still 25 and Devonport 21. And Kim, there's no other word for it, tomorrow's going to be a scorcher.
I think that's the word indeed. Thank you so much, Victoria. That is all the news for now. Good night, everyone.